every day, cats and dogs.
Wow.
And a few more places, you hear a lot of rain.
Wow.
And even Nairobi, the few times it has rained, it has been quite heavy.
We thank God.
We thank God there's food.
There's a caller amepiga akasema amenotice kuna a lot of butterflies around.
Yes.
And then we're saying, that's like a sign of, kuna mvua inapotea or something. I don't know if you've ever heard of such.
I had noted that I had even communicated to my wife that there are so many butterflies on the way that yesterday I read there are some scientists who are talking about it because it has been observed in most parts, I think, of this region near Nairobi. And they were saying it is because of the temperatures and the climatic changes that are favoring the metamorphosis now to get to that point. So that's how we are having butterflies. As you drive towards Nakuru, it's all beautiful. They are everywhere.
Mrs. Macharia?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
Job imekuwaje wiki?
Job imekuwa mingi. Lakini nashukuru, can't complain.
Wow.
Thanking God for the opportunity and the privilege of work. Yeah, but it's been good.
Karibuni sana.
Asante.
We are talking about openness. Openness in a relationship and the importance of trust. And there's a question that was already coming here. And before, I think we can just answer this question concerning trust. And Oliza, should you tell somebody you've met about your whole past? Yeah? Like, nilikuwaga mwizi, mimi hata jela nimekuwa miezi 7, hivi. Like, are there things that, unaweza fungia na isikuwe ati how build trust? Mr. Macharia.
Thank you. That's a very important question. It happened that over a cup of tea, I had asked her, how much should one disclose? Because it requires a lot of wisdom. Even a wisdom muhimu sana. Because you might tell somebody certain things in your past that may really mess you up. So you can disclose, but up to a certain point. You can't say, I had aborted 3 children and I had, I almost killed somebody or I killed somebody. There are certain things that you may approach with a lot of wisdom. It's like the way samani tukiokoka. Mtu alikuwa naenda napeana testimony na unapeana all the things that you have done. Now, if you had messed up with mshirika,
Naona baba Mwangi,
Mwangi wife yako,
ile kondoo yenye ulipotea ni mimi niliiba.
Utapigwa panga.
Nimeokoka leo.
Utapigwa panga. I hear there's a brother who went to disclose some information of infidelity in a church in Nakuru, and he had to jump through the window from 2nd floor.
Oh my.
So certain things you approach with a lot of wisdom.
Wow.
Yes.
Umesikia? Mrs. Macharia?
Yes.
As a lady, kuna level fulani ya openness unaweza ona now this is too much.
Yeah, I agree. Just go to the level to which you're comfortable. And again, approach it with a lot of wisdom. Because there are some things that we have done in our past that really should not really come up. It's not glorious talking about it. So it's good to say, I have a past. I have done mistakes. I have repented. And here I am. I think that would cover a lot of things. Just go to the extent to which you feel comfortable, but also apply wisdom. Sometimes people are carried by love and that feeling of infatuation and love together. And you pour out everything. I know of a case whereby the lady just said, I had an abortion. Yes, I had a relationship with... That's after the wedding. Because I was involved, or we were involved in their wedding. And then when issues came up and we were sitting through, what really was the deal breaker was a revelation that it's true, I had a relationship with that man. I got pregnant and I aborted, but later on I repented again. And the guy could not just handle that. So eventually one thing leads to another. So you open that cupboard of skeletons and somebody is left wondering, what else have you done? And those kind of things. So to the level which you're comfortable, and again, apply a lot of wisdom. It's not everything that is very necessary to say in a relationship.
Wow.
Yeah. And what you say must be true.
Must be true.
But not everything true
Must be
must
said.
be said.
Well, Mr. Macharia,
Yes.
somebody is in a relationship today. Is openness built with time? Ama ni kitu yenye like, are there things that you say after you've known somebody you can continue in a relationship? Ama tuna date ni hivi na unafungua kitabu?
Ushafungua kitabu.
Hey.
No. If you look at the way the topics have developed, we came from a point of you had all these friends, maybe you're a young man, you have all these lady friends, maybe in the church or in school. You have now, it is knowing, is he the one or is she the one? Then we moved from knowing that this one looks like the person I would be interested in, and you have taken time, you have prayed about it, and so on. You develop friendship. Friendship is the start of building trust. Now you can start opening up to the person. Last time we talked about the do's and don'ts. What are those things that you can, of courtship? We also talked about keeping pure because it enables you to approach the relationship with an open mind. But the moment you become physical, it seals off certain areas. And now every time you meet, you have already closed the boundary. Every time you meet, that is the direction that you go. You have no time to learn one another. So those that decide to go the right way, they will take time to build friendship. In the friendship, now is the time you concretize. You want to know. You want to. Something that we may have not mentioned is that love makes people to get married. But friendship is what keeps marriage. So people need to build that friendship. Now, from the time of friendship, now we went to the do's and don'ts, and today now we are talking. If you can, you hear now we are almost approaching marriage. We are almost approaching marriage. We are now in the courtship process. So you already have learned this person. This person is, I can trust the person. I can divulge. I can give as much information about myself as possible. You can now start opening up, and that is why openness and honesty also go together with trust. Because the information I'm giving, I don't want to, I hope I don't hear it with another person. I have only told you.
And I think the process is very defined in this particular conversation. But also understand kuna wale wanapatana leo wana skip hizi nini, unakuta watu hata wanakaa kwa nyumba alafu unakutana mtu kwa barabara na kwambia ulibadilisha huyu jamaa, unauliza kwa nini huyu alikuwa mwizi hapa, then relationship inaisha. So I think it's also wise, as we are mentioning, there's a process before even openness and honesty comes into the picture.
Yes. Wow. Remember what we also mentioned the other time is that this relationship, if God gives you ears, you'll be with this person for the next 70 years. If you go to the 90s, you'll be maybe above 70 and so forth. Can you imagine you only prepared for it for 3 months and then you enter into a 70-year arrangement or relationship? Take your time. Establish good roots. Even everything of value normally first takes time to build strong roots, and then when it sprouts, everybody is willing to see how far can this tree go. But those ones that are shallow, the weed comes, it is blown off. Relationships that are built on sand, they also equally are blown away by the storms of life. But if you got time to establish, to connect, to know that I have my back covered, she will cover me. Then, when we get to that moment of storm, I know she's on my side.
Wow. How should openness in a healthy, godly relationship look like?
Beautiful. A great question. In a healthy, godly relationship, openness requires that you give. Let me put in quotes, and the listeners may not see what I'm doing, but
they're actually seeing.
They're
live on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That it is good to disclose as much as possible, but as we said, with wisdom. I'll give an example. There's a gentleman who married a lady with all the normal, going through the normal process and so forth. 3 years after marriage, they went to visit the lady's side. They had visited, but this time they found the grandmother. And you know, grandmothers will not hide things. Now he tells the guy, you know, you left your... where I come from, they say kamokwa. The rope that had tied the calf. So the guy tries to understand, what does this mean? He said, oh, let me call her. Wacha nimuite, umuone. Kasichana kanatokea, kanaka wife, kanamuita mom. You had no idea. 3 years into marriage, it was a very tough time. A lot of people had to sit and try to don't hide certain things, especially those things that you can't hide. They'll one day still come up. Really, you cannot hide that you have a debt. And you have a huge debt. You're not telling me, we are not into marriage. You're not contributing anything in this marriage because you're first paying all the debt. So there are those things that you cannot cover. What we talked about, and we talked about the ones that you may not disclose. There are those things that will not add value, and even they are appearing, they are coming out, may just mess the relationship, like the examples that we gave earlier. So in a Christian, healthy Christian relationship, it's important that one really gives the full information about yourself, about your family, about your career, about your dreams, your aspirations, your values, so that somebody knows this one that I'm getting into, is he the one who will make money by all means? Or is it somebody who will say, no, that one, I count me out. Somebody who has clear Christian values. So the moment as somebody is speaking about themselves, you're also listening and saying, how do they align to my personal values? Because I am brought up in, maybe I'm a Christian, maybe born again, however long, but I know this is what I would do if Christ was here. Is this the same thing that this person would do? So trying to be as genuine about yourself as possible. Now, there is a disclaimer. And this disclaimer is that not everybody is born or has that gift of being able to be open.
That was my next question.
Okay. Because either the family that you grew in, people are closed up. Or something happened and people become very protective of information about themselves. So you who has come must really help the person to feel they can trust you and allow them to be able to start releasing information gradually. Watakuwa wanatoa kama dawa. Daktari tu. And don't harakisha them, because you try to force them that this one does not talk about themselves, they close up again. But with time, you can help them to feel very comfortable in this conversation. Create the right environment. Somebody may not feel comfortable going to the cafeteria or a hotel, and now they're talking about themselves. They may want maybe an environment where they can see who is around us as I say certain things about myself. So the right environment is good. Another way in which you can also realize that, that openness is when you're in a natural setting. That is why we encourage, or like for many years, young people have been encouraged to go for like retreats. Go for, they are called what?
Excavations. Road trips.
Those road trips, like go and get to the Logonaut or Gong. That time when you are angry, you are hungry, you are tired, it's time that the people can see your real self. When you go for picnics and you're out there, you're sharing responsibility, you realize, is this among the guys who hide behind others? They don't do anything. So young people need to look for opportunities to be out there in crowd with friends, so that they see the other partner in a natural setting. In employment, sometimes we used to take people for a retreat, put them in some harsh environment, harsh in quotes, where they can cook for themselves. They are waking up to go for morning jogging. They are, during the whole day, they are doing a lot of things. You find people, those who get angry, those who will shout, those who will scream, those who will do everything. By the time you're doing your final analysis, you can tell these are my findings, despite the interview. Because there are people who know how to present themselves very ably. So these gentlemen or ladies that will know how to really speak very well about themselves. Put them in a natural setting, you realize, this person was fake. So as a Christian, look for all those opportunities. Be in church together. Go and worship together. Go and see them in a real setting. Then you'll know.
Let's go to Biashara. When we come back, we continue about this conversation about openness in a relationship and the importance of trust. Wow, nice.
Shajara ya biashara na Dolly Mwirigi.
Hujambo, serikali imepata bilioni 1.45 kutoka
talking about matters switch relationships, and today we're talking about openness in a relationship and the importance of trust. And Mr. Macharia was just telling us about the importance of even hanging out in public places, where the environment is kind of controlled because you feel you control it, but so uncontrolled because there are so many things around you. And you get to see what triggers these people and how they deal with these things. Openness. Wow. Mrs. Macharia.
Yes.
What does openness? I know it's like a straightforward answer, but I would just like to hear from you. What does openness, being in a place where this person is open with me and you're convicted that they are open with me, what does that do to a relationship?
Okay. So one of the things that it does to any relationship is that it brings you closer, right? You feel that emotional bond. Because by the time you are getting to be very open to a person, even psychologically you are at a position where there's that voice that tells you, I can do 1, 2, 3, I can say 1, 2, 3. So we are at that level whereby I'm not doubting you. I'm not thinking that you're leaving me tomorrow, or I'm not thinking that you'll tell somebody else what I'm telling you. So it brings you closer. You feel you have a partner in this. That emotional bond becomes very strong. And as the question, as the Bible asks, how can two walk together unless they're in agreement? So it brings that togetherness. You feel one emotionally. And because you have shared many other things, even you have shared your finances, you have shared maybe about something that we didn't mention earlier. Is there an illness you're dealing with? Because people come into relationships with illnesses. People come even with things like, I have read, a lady knows very well that along the way she lost her uterus. But then she's not disclosing that. That is not something you can see unless you're told.
I saw a video. It's like this guy taking a lady to a date. She's epileptic. He did not know.
Yeah.
And he also did not know what to do. And he was like, I needed to know so that I need to know how to take care of you. So I think it's very important such things come out.
Very, very, they should come out. So apart from you feel that emotional connection, then it is a human need to feel that there's somebody who understands and validates you.
Wow.
There is nothing as good as knowing that I've got my partner in this life, who I can tell anything, we can discuss anything. I feel validated without any fear. And it makes you feel human. Let me speak about being human. Because I have somebody. Now, it also enhances the friendship. That level of openness. Actually, there are things that maybe he'll tell me, or I'll tell him, and I say, well, for me to be told such kind of information, then I know I have been elevated as a very good friend. And therefore, I will reciprocate. Now, remember, it is two-way. If I tell you and I'm open to some extent, now you should also learn to be open, because I'm trusting you with the information and I'm trusting you with many other things about myself and history. So you should also be that open. So it will bring us together. It will enhance the friendship. It brings on validation. Every human being, like what they say, every man needs a woman and every woman needs a man. You need to be validated by someone. And then that emotional connection and bond becomes very strong. And these are the things that actually keep the marriage very strong. When emotionally I feel connected and I feel validated, and I know I have a friend in my partner, let me tell you, that bond will be inseparable. Wow. Very, very inseparable.
I think you've also answered, so many ladies like saying, I don't feel like I'm seen here. There's appreciated. Somebody asks, namu appreciate aje? Gari nimenunulia. Maybe it's openness. You're not open. Think like umetuokolea sana with that explanation. Wow. Quickly here, because there's this brother of mine, ameandika, sema, what would you advise somebody who's been married for 12 years, but then there's some aspect of the lady is flirting with other people kwa simu, and kati naulizwa inakuwa inatwistiwa, inakuwa it's all about the man.
All right, there are several things that can happen in a relationship, and people find themselves that the love can wane, or the feeling of love can wane. And so you find this is where now, like we were saying earlier, a lot of other factors come in to keep the marriage. And actually some authors and some people, relationship experts, say trust sometimes in friendship could be more important than that, even the romantic aspect. Now let me say this. For whatever reason that you find yourself in a situation that you're getting attracted to other people, because flirting comes after attraction. I would never flirt with anyone unless I'm attracted to them. So it is important to be cautious and to guard yourself against that. And know this, that every marriage can go through that. It is either the lady or the man. It doesn't matter how long you've been married. It can come. So it's important that people get to be very conscious. People in relationships get to be very conscious that the moment you discover this is your person and you're walking the journey towards marriage, or you're already in marriage and you have actually been married for some time, that does not mean that that attraction feeling goes away. It is possible to feel attracted to other people. Very possible. So what you do is that you guard yourself against such. You know you're married to this person, you know you're committed to this person, so you know very well, you have set your boundaries. And you know very well, even after you flirt, you're not leaving your marriage. So of what use is it going to be? Then put yourself in the other person's shoes. Like this lady who is flirting. Supposing it is the man who is flirting, how would she feel? Because we need to put always ourselves in the other person's shoes, so that we try to imagine exactly how they would feel. Now, like this one who has been caught, the husband, of course, went through the phone and found these text messages, I want to guess, and then they were not very palatable. There is no need of gaslighting. Don't twist it and tell him it is because you don't take me out. It's because, I don't know, you didn't buy me what. It was Valentine, you didn't bring me flowers and stuff like that. Own up to your mistakes. Part of developing trust is owning up to your mistakes. It is wrong. I realize I've done wrong. Kindly forgive me. You know, and that also enhances the bond. You realize that this person has asked for forgiveness and it has been granted. So next time I know I will not repeat that because it was such a bad thing. Honestly, there's nothing that hurts in a relationship like anything that is tending towards romance with another person, because it makes this other person doubt themselves. Am I worth this person, or what haven't I done, or what have I done that has led to this? So for that lady and many others who could be in such a situation, plus men, once you discover that you are flirting and it is heading somewhere, because that's how it starts,
It always ends somewhere.
and it can actually escalate to something else. So it's good to be on your guard.
Be on your guard.
Be on your guard, because it can find you when you least expect. You find yourself and being on your guard means always tell yourself there are things I will not do, set your boundaries, and be accountable to your partner. Yeah.
Nice one. Kuna jamaa anauliza hapa, Mr. Macharia, now they are dating. Hata wanaingia kwa, bado hawajaingia kwa marriage. In the spirit of openness, lady anafaa ajue biashara zote za huyu jamaa. Niko na kapuloti mahali, ninajenga rentals mahali.
Yes.
In the spirit of openness, anafaa ajue ama polepole tu mpaka?
I would say it depends on the stage they are in. Because we had a friend, and already when he was young, he had a very nice home, and he was building a flat somewhere. A young man, not yet married, working with the World Bank. And now when we're discussing, we're darling, how do I know that they are not coming because of what I have? So it would depend on the stage of the relationship. There's what you cannot disclose so early, so that you get to know what is this person's interest with me. There are even people who downplay and look like they are struggling simply just to test. Does this person really care about me, or is it the things that I possess, the things that I own? So timing is important. At what stage? remember the stages that you have talked about. You have known this person, we have known each other, we have reached a point where we are good friends, and now we are getting to a point. Of course, the moment you become good friends, the person starts seeing the way you carry yourself, the things that you have. But you cannot you cannot now start telling them, I earn $1 million per month, or I have these 3 houses, whether they're inherited or they're yours. You have to really wait until the appropriate time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very important that we talk about this because squeezy is about what I have. Unajua, unaona mrembo, hata unapark gari mzuri hapo mbele, usharuka stage ya salamu na nini, because we are very materialistic. Not only the ladies, even the men. You go, unajua, huwezi kula shida kwangu, niko na hii. I think as you're saying about the process, which someone will think it's not necessary because they have money and they have these things, it's wise that they get to know that there's a time for everything. There's a process before we get here, so that mtu asiingie kwako na every day unajua ulikubali mambo yangu juu ya gari. I don't think that's a marriage anybody should be in. There's somebody in a marriage right now, and if you ask them do you trust your spouse, they will not have a direct yes. They are already there, lakini hakuna trust. I feel like we can speak life to such a marriage. Maybe jamaa alichukua loan akafanyia kitu and that hurt the relationship. There is no trust anymore. I see prayer requests here around that. How can such trust be rebuilt?
Thank you. That's once again a very good question, because these are the things that people are going through currently. There's a lot of mistrust among married people, and the part of the reason is because along the way people start getting casual with each other. They're the things that you knew were important for you to build your relationship. The moments you had just to talk, the outings you had just to know each other, the moments you had to go and take coffee and so on. That's why you keep on hearing, keep on dating your wife, keep on taking her out, and when she can, she also does it.
One time my wife told me, I don't feel wooed.
Yes. Those things, in marriage, they still say, kautoto kanasaidiaga, that you cannot be too mature for each other.
Wow.
You still need to keep on courting, doing the things that make you to open up. But the moment people get into the marriage institution, it is serious business. Somebody who used to, you could hear their laughter from far. Now all of a sudden, the guys are stoned. The lady, there is a lady who told me she had not talked to her husband for 2 years. Unfortunately, he died. And she had really become thin. But a few years after she got married, when I got to know her, after the guy died, she had become so big. So people were asking her, are you nuts? How can you be big after your husband died? I think a few months after the guy has died. But because of the environment they were in. What had brought about that? People kill communication inside marriage. And communication is like the blood that flows in your system. The moment it dies, if your blood really dries up, you are gone. If communication dies within a relationship, you're on your way to killing that marriage. So continue on. The normally married people sometimes they become too formal that when they get into the house, they greet many people, and it is your wife only. Mweshidaje. You talk in plural, and you only allow for the closed question. You call them what? Not the open-ended, where somebody can talk back. They can be able to give you stories of how their day was and so on. Ng'ombe zimekula, unaambiwa yes. Na watoto kwa nini hawajalala? Unaambiwa ni homework wanafanya. Mbwa mmefugulia. Those things. You become too cliche. You just talk few words. There's no longer emotional connection. And Anne has said that openness allows for the building of that emotional bond. It provides security inside marriage. But now you have closed up. Before long, I hear you own a house somewhere.
Uh-huh.
You have heard of stories of
Yeah.
men who are paying rent in their
In their own
wives'
house.
houses.
Yeah.
Yes. Those things, they bring a lot of distrust that sometimes it doesn't heal. And the marriage that was thriving comes down. That's why it's good to continue on doing those things that you are doing when you are getting to know one another. Continue with them into the marriage. It will help your marriage.
Wow. Mrs. Machari,
Yes.
such a household.
Mm-hmm.
And I know ladies, kuna men by the way kama alikuwa analipa rent kwake.
Yeah.
The ladies wanapitia pia in houses and it affects the trust.
Mm.
And we ask God to revive these houses. We ask God to raise conversations where conversations need to be raised, to humble hearts that need to be humbled. How can trust be rebuilt in a house where you feel like mzee mi simuamini? Maybe something happened and you've not moved on. You're like atuta assume mi siamini huyo mzee, nilimsamea but siamini, simtrust anymore.
First of all, there's no marriage or there's no relationship that is beyond repair. It is people who make up decisions that I'm going to forgive this and I'm going to open about this. So picking up from what we had said before is that own up to your mistakes. If it is a lady and you discovered that your man has this and has that and you didn't know, and of course it has broken you into pieces, confront. Do not fear to confront. And when I mean confrontation here, I don't mean that you now stand on the table and demand answers. No, in a very loving way. Ask, I have discovered 1, 2, 3. Kindly explain. And let him understand what that has done to the relationship. It has hurt you as a person. It has broken the trust and you feel shattered. Now communication should be at that level. I feel, not you did. Because if you do that, the other person gets defensive.
Yeah.
Because they feel attacked. But now, coming from what you feel, the betrayal, your feelings, and how helpless you are feeling, and actually it gets to a point whereby you don't almost feel the other person. Have such an open, create time, and have that candid conversation. Repent if you need to repent, and don't get defensive. Na wewe, na forgive. Don't drag an issue like for 1 year, I'll never forgive you, I don't know you did this. It doesn't help anything. It keeps the relationship in a sort of turmoil unnecessarily long. So forgive. No, first of all, whoever needs to confess, the offender must confess everything. Number 2, they must ask for forgiveness. The one who needs to grant forgiveness should do it graciously. Don't put the other person in a situation whereby they feel trapped or they did something that cannot be forgiven. If you need help, talk to another person. It also helps. Maybe your best couple or your friends. And sometimes if it goes beyond what you think you could handle, talk to a neutral specialist. Now, marriage counselors are there to ensure that we thrive. They're not there just to make money for them or motivational speaking, no. Because anyone in a marriage, anything beyond 5 years or even 2 years, knows that things can get very thick. Because you're dealing with me, you cannot, unfortunately, the thing about love is I can't tell exactly what is in his mind. Exactly. And that's why he needs to open up. And the other way around. So sometimes you need somebody to take you through the healing process. Yeah, and not necessarily your pastor. Yeah, he can, but sometimes you also need a professional counselor to take you through the process.
There's a young couple tuned in right now, enjoying this conversation, and they're looking at it and they're like, wow, we're in a good place. Hey, tuko open, unani trust, nako trust, and they're going to get into marriage someday. Just mentioning Mr. Macharia, what are some of the things that break trust? Ndio avoid bana.
Yeah, of course, there's the obvious one. Infidelity is a major issue. But before you even get into infidelity, sometimes we say it is the small things that have accumulated. It only requires one thing to come and break up. Yeah. So these gadgets that we're holding, the phones, have become a major source of problem in homes. That somebody cannot, if they left their phone, they better come from town, be late for work, but go back for the
phone.
because of the secrets it's holding. During the day, there will be that flirting that is taking place. There will be money engagements that will be taking place. There will be a number of things. So being really as open as a book, that even if you forget it, you leave it and you continue on. Even if the children ask for it, you don't struggle. You know, you hear people who go to the bathroom with their phone so that partner wake asione, it becomes a problem. Also, the people that you keep company.
Wow.
If I see you, the people that you work with are of questionable character. Normally, the rotten apple is the one that messes a whole sack of good apples. But if you are keeping with the right kind of, and that's where really Christians need to know that they need to choose wisely who are the people they are continuing with. You don't want to control somebody, but you can always highlight that work with so and so. I don't think it is the right thing. If I'm just working with somebody who beats his wife, who trashes women, who speaks ill of women, my language starts changing. And before long, she'll hear me release a word, another one comes out. Before long, she knows that person they're working with is the one that is messing. But there are those who speak life to situations. They speak great of marriages. They talk about, you know, how we can work together with my spouse. If these are the people I'm working with, they also help. So we are talking about the company that you keep, openness with gadgets like the phone, openness with finances, because there are people who don't know what their partner earns. Yeah? And if there ever are opportunities to know, it becomes a problem. So even if you get a new employment, you can't show the letter of employment to your partner because they will know how much you earn. And the question is, unatafutia nani? Si ni yeye na watoto. So you fully disclose. And when it is not there, it is not there. And really that, I remember we talked the other time, that let's be truthful with ourselves so that people, if I don't disclose, she may think I earn 2 million, you know?
Yeah.
And therefore, all things are heaped on me. But when I can say this is a situation, then she knows the extent to which that can be able to cover.
Wow. Nice one. Mwambia hizi vitu unaweza lipisha pesa mingi sana kuleta hizi conversation, but hatulipishi anything. We just want you to thrive in your relationships. We want you to get into that place of marriage and thrive there. And openness should be the thing in your homes, and trust. May that be your portion. I think I'll finish with what I've been saying when we talk hapa hivi. Ushasikia we implement. Even in your marriages, angalia ni wapi mlipotezea your trust. Go back. Labda ulikuwa serious after umeingiza mtu box, do the things you used to do, and have conversations. I pray for your relationships, by the way. Young guys, it's possible to date in a godly way, marry and thrive and spend so many years together. Get all these things, utafika hapo. Asanteni sana the Macharias. Sijui nianze kuwaleta hapa sasa, niwape tu show hapa tu Thursday kutoka saa 7. I feel like this 1 hour kimbias. But thank you for your time and thank you for sharing. God bless you.
Thank you.
Tutapatana kesho majaliwa. Mimi ni Macharias. Be open, and build trust